Hey knife nuts out there, I just wanted to do a quick comparison video of two classic Spyderco knives. The Spyderco Military and the Spyderco Paramilitary. Two amazing knives. This knife here, the Paramilitary, I have much more experience with because I've had it a lot longer than the military. And it is just an amazing EDC blade. I see what all the hype is about. I was sort of resistant to get this for a while. I'm a very visual guy, as most guys are, and to me the handle to blade ratio bothered me a little bit. I thought the blade was just a little too small for the size of the handle. I got over that real quick once I got this in hand. I got this as a birthday present to myself about 6 months ago, I guess. This knife fits my hand perfectly, and I've heard people with much bigger hands say the same thing. I have medium-sized, sort of slender-fingered hands, and it just feels great. You can choke up here, it feels great. No matter how you hold this knife, it just feels great. The blade is an amazing shape. It's sort of the quintessential Spyderco shape, that sort of modified drop point. But something about this they did right. I mean, they do it all right, but something about this blade is just perfect. You can see Sal Glesser and Eric Glesser's maker's marks there. Golden, Colorado, USA, Earth. I love that. It sort of says, this knife will last till the days we reach the stars. And you have to stipulate what planet your knife is made on. It's got tip up, tip down, left, right carry. It's got this awesome compression lock, which is, I mean, in a way, like a liner lock on top, in that the locking bar is nested in the liner and protrudes from it at an angle when actuated, but it does not, it's not a, the lock interface does not butt up against the blade tang. It actually fits in a little notch in the blade tang right there, that notch. Very secure, very fun to disengage. You can actually just hold it in and flip it open that way. It's a very, very versatile knife. It's perfect design. The blade length is, you know, not going to creep people out when you pull it out. And it's got this giant opening hole. I think it's 14 millimeters. That opening hole, it's the biggest I've seen on any Spyderco. Meaning you can open it up with gloves if you're some sort of a, well, you don't have to be an operator of any sort. I mean, you could just be a guy wanting to open his knife with gloves on, and you can do it very easily. But I think, you know, that was probably originally put there for, you know, military, first responder, police types who might be wearing gloves on the job and need this knife. It's got this 50-50 choil here, which allows you to choke up, and it's got perfect jimping. There and there, just perfect. Absolutely perfect. Just like its full flat ground blade. Perfect. CPM S30V makes it very tough, very resilient, hold an edge for a long time. Easy-ish to sharpen. I mean, it's a little harder than, say, AUS 8 or VG10, so it's going to take a little bit more elbow grease to sharpen, but not in any way impractical. And I've seen people thrash on these online, and they just keep going. Late Boy Scout did a lot of thrashing out in the wilderness with this. I think I've seen Carter cut open some tuna cans with this. I haven't had to do stuff like that, and you know, I take their word for it, which is it's good to know that someone's out there doing that, so that I can rest assured that this knife can go the distance. I've used it to cut food in restaurants. Well, just once in restaurant. I prefer my Endura or my Open L for that purpose. But you know, I've opened boxes, cut rope, cut string, just stuff around the house, stuff in the yard. And this knife is just exceptional. The G10 is like the perfect grippiness, not too grippy, not too slick, and it's very light, and you can see where they've taken out big chunks of the liners to lighten it even more. Liners, I believe, are steel. Classic Spyderco pocket clip and a gigantic lanyard hole. I had a lanyard on there for about a day, but mostly I only put lanyards on my very small knives that I don't clip to my pants pockets. The military, the bigger brother, is similar in many ways and different in some very fundamental ways. It's got a nice long 4-inch blade. Whereas this is, I think, 3.4. Opening hole is slightly smaller, but the shape of that blade is perfect. It's the little extra room on it gives it an even nicer belly than the Paramilitary. It's just beautiful, beautiful belly. You've got a sort of 50-50 choil here. I'm curious as to why this is rounded and not scooped out like that, but it doesn't bother me. I'm just curious as to why it would be like that. This is a frame lock, a very nice frame lock. I believe that is titanium, though I could be mistaken. And you have one option for pocket clip: right hand tip down carry. I'm not ordinarily a tip down enthusiast, but in this case I am, because, well, the reason you don't have the options you have here, this has full liners nested in that G10. This knife, the military, only has the liner on this side, and it's embedded into the G10 and stops right here where this aluminum backspacer stops. And that's to keep it light. It is a very big knife. I mean, this is a 5.5-inch handle, 4-inch blade. With full liners, this could be very heavy. And this is meant to be carried by military folk, where ounces equal pounds and pounds equal pain, so you want to keep it as light as possible. So, in the absence of anything to anchor it to, i.e. full liners down here, the only option is tip down. Strangely, oddly small lanyard hole when compared to the Paramilitary, but that doesn't bother me. I'm not planning on putting a lanyard on here anyway. The hardware, the screws are this sort of satin finish. The pivot is satin finished. This is also CPM S30V steel. I love the sound it makes when it opens up. It's got a really nice detent, and it's just generally a badass blade. Something I really like about this knife in particular is that, let me zoom out just a hair, is that when you hold it in hand, the blade is angled downward, so it accelerates your slashes, almost in the way a kukri or something. Yes, the blade shape is not like a kukri, but the blade is presented at an angle from your hands in such a way that it reaches whatever you're slashing long before your hand, the straight line of your hand, does. Kind of like a Filipino sword or knife. And I don't know, I just really like that. The story behind this is someone asked Sal Glesser if he had to send his son, presumably Eric, to war, what knife would he send him with? And this was the knife he designed. Ow. Almost took my fingernail off there. And this was the knife. And then later the Paramilitary was spawned, the Paramilitary 1, and then Eric Glesser, Sal's son, for whom this was designed, chimed in on the second iteration of the Paramilitary 2 and helped create this classic. I mean, this has really become I've heard it described as the Buck 110 of our generation, just the quintessential pocket knife. Anyway, that's it. Quick comparison video of these two magnificent knives, and I like to carry them together. It's kind of geeky, but I do. That's about it. Hope you all have a great night. Thank you so much for watching, and enjoy your blades.